What is up, AKAPADers? Welcome to AKAPAD's Audio Audacity Podcast, and you're tuning in. I am beaming to you, beaming inside your gray matter from the 31 Days of Dread. That's the annual podcast event where we do one horror movie a day for the entire month of October. Now, this is episode 17, day 17 of 31, and we're going back in time to a movie from 1985 called Transylvania 5000. It is a confusing title. I'm with you on that. But we got something cool here. We got something special, and let's talk about it. Now, here is the cool thing. Thank you for joining me. And if you're new here, I am Peter A. DeLuca. I am your pop culture aficionado, your guiding hand. I am your surfboard. That's right. You're riding me, and we're being beamed. We're being soared. We are flying through the pop culture cosmos, and we're exploring the universe of pop culture. Here we go. Was that a good enough dramatic pause for you? Okay. This movie blew me away on a few levels because I never seen it, and I always remember seeing this movie at the video store when I was a kid, and I was always curious about it, never jumping in on it. But mind-blowing fact number one, and this is just from my perspective, it's directed by Rudy DeLuca. I'm a DeLuca, so that's cool. This is also, we're only 17 days into the 31 Days of Dread, and we've had 2 DeLucas so far. Just go see our Night Watchman episode for another DeLuca. Amazing stuff. Number 3, the flat-out chemistry and performance of Jeff Goldblum and Ed Begley Jr. Now, Ed Begley Jr. somewhat faded away as time marched on. Jeff Goldblum has grown into prominence, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. Number 3. We have another 80s comedy about Frankenstein. Frankenstein's really the main focus on this. Number 4, the cast. This movie is stacked with people that are comedians, that have comedic timing, that do characters, stacked. And number 5, we have somewhat of a Mel Brooks connection. And I'm watching this movie, and I can easily see why, like the winds of time, the tides of time, kind of blew and washed this movie away. Outside of one thing, I think Jeff Goldblum is so good in this movie. He's so funny, along with everyone else. But this is now a Jeff Goldblum movie because, like I said, he's risen into prominence. It's so good. I'm very curious to why it's not always referenced as a part of some of his best movies. People just seem to pick the low-hanging fruit stuff. They say The Fly, they say Jurassic Park. That's like their go-to. My Jeff Goldblum would be this movie and The Big Chill. And but whatever. Like we're here to debate a little bit here. If you want to debate me, AKAPAD on Twitter, just come at me, bro. Come find me. Okay, can I get into this cast? We have Carol Kane. We have Jeffrey Jones. We have Gina Davis. We have Michael Richards. We have Norman Fell. We have Teresa Gainzell. Okay? And like I said, Ed Begley Jr. and Jeff Goldblum. And if you don't know who a lot of these people are, look, you should know. Jeffrey Jones is in so many. He's the villain from Howard the Duck. His list goes on and on. Gina Davis, we know her. Gina Davis is one of the hottest women on earth in this movie. It's hard not to watch this movie just for Gina Davis. We have Teresa Gainzell. If you really big in 80s comedies. Beautiful girl. I just look at her sometimes. I'm like, she has such a unique look. Where her and Gina Davis are almost like, Gina Davis is Greek symmetrical, like nearly perfect. And then Teresa Gainzell is like your weird hot, your odd hot, and it's just great. It's great seeing how, because of their appearance, how the 2 separate actresses were used within the story. and for different types of comedy, different types of delivery. Because when it comes to comedy, I would say comedy above all, your appearance adds so much to the effect of your performance. And people are like, no, that's superficial. I'm like, it's not. I mean, we can't say that we are like disappointed Jonah Hill is a little bit less funny when he loses weight, because he's in that weight bounce. Like, he's up, he's down, whatever, depending on his role. We can't say like John Candy or even John Goodman. Comedy would be different with their weight, and people are like, Pete, that is such a non-PC thing to say. I get it, but I think especially for these movies, I think it works, and I think it's just a part of it. I think if you look weird, if you're a weird-looking guy, you can play funny, weird characters, and it helps you sell it. It helps to make it convincing because you're still pretending, you're still creating, and you have to be able to sell that as effectively as possible. And what better way to sell it than your physical appearance? But anyway, moving on. So what is the plot of this movie? The plot of this movie, my dear friends, is very simple. It starts with a video of a guy getting attacked by Frankenstein, and we don't see Frankenstein. Frankenstein kind of like busts through a door and then grabs a guy, so we just see the arms. And then we cut to Jeff Goldblum. We cut to Ed Begley Jr., and they are sent to Transylvania to investigate this story. And Jeff Goldblum and Ed Begley Jr. are drastically different characters with drastically different intents and things that they want to pull from the world. One's experienced, Jeff Goldblum, one's not, Ed Begley Jr. So they go on this mission to investigate. So at this point, it's a lot like Fletch Lives. It's that type of formula. Also, go watch that movie. And we're just dealing with like two fish out of water dudes who are in the stereotypical Transylvania, even though it's not. But then it turns to be the stereotypical Transylvania. And Rudy DeLuca is a guy connected to Mel Brooks, collaborators, writers. I think they've traded producing each other's movies. I would say like when it comes to Rudy DeLuca, when it comes to his history, like, I can check real quick. I don't really remember him being involved with, he's only directed one movie, which would be this. He's writer and actor. Like I said, silent movie, High Anxiety. Those are his Mel Brooks, Dracula Dead and Loving It. Again, consistent Mel Brooks collaborator. And this movie does have some of that. It has some of those Mel Brooks beats and the zaniness of the humor. Michael Richards, Kramer from Seinfeld, his character is like, you don't even know what he's doing, like you just don't. And everyone in this movie kind of has like an off or accurate, it's hard to pinpoint it sometimes, Transylvania accent, and it just makes it funny. And Michael Richards is just so over the top, you don't know how to take it. He really is like a Jim Carrey of his time. And knowing his history and how long he's been in the comedy game, him ascending to the role of Kramer and creating that character and having that character now be, maybe the greatest sitcom of all time. And, it's like due diligence. It's justice served because he's been in the game for so long. He's done so many things, so many sacrifices, and he got his shot and he nailed it with Kramer. So that, that's a lot of the enlightening things with this movie. We have the Jeff Goldblum that we know, kind of like the slow, smooth talker, bumbler, somewhat of a p-hound. Or he definitely is a p-hound in this movie. I love his fashion, by the way. I love what Jeff Goldblum wears in this movie. And he's somewhat of an extension of his character from The Big Chill. Like, the two characters could maybe be the same character. But yeah, so And look, that could just be me projecting, or that could just be him getting movie roles and going to areas that he knows works. Meaning, this is why George Clooney is always George Clooney in his movies, because he knows where to go for that performance, and it's less stress. Not that it's less work, but transforming into a character is very stressful for these people. I understand why they're a little wacky, and they have weird points of views, and they seem a little bit off. Acting is not easy. Hollywood's not an easy industry. We're not talking about that. But this movie, though, I think it's easily a part of the 80s horror lexicon. This and Young Frankenstein are the polar opposites of some of the other 80s horror. And was the 80s a boom period for horror? I hate to say it. It seems like it really was. Like, just the more I do the 31 Days of Dread, the more is stemmed out of the 80s. And look, everyone, this movie's available. I believe it's on Amazon Prime. I watched it on Amazon Prime. Go check it out. Especially if you like Jeff Goldblum. Especially if you want Jeff Goldblum bouncing things off an actor that can keep up with him. And that is Ed Begley Jr. He is so good in this movie. But for the 31 Days of Dread, I'm Peter A. DeLuca. Thank you for joining me, and get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow we start a Rob Zombie block, and then it's Cosmosis. Ramos Cosmosis is I forget his name. The guy who directed Mandy and Beyond the Black Rainbow. We're doing a double director block. So the next four movies is going to be Three from Hell, Lords of Salem. Then it's going to be Mandy, and then it's going to be Beyond the Black Rainbow. And if Beyond the Black Rainbow is new to you, go check that, because that's a movie worth discussion. I could probably sit down with a few people and talk forever on that, talk for hours on that movie after watching it with them, because there's no way to come into that movie without exiting with a huge conversation. But look, everyone, for 31 Days of Dread, I'm Peter A. DeLuca. Thank you for joining me, and get ready for day 18. It's Three from Hell, the movie everybody wants to know about.